Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Bar Corner. Today we're going to be doing some beer tasting. Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me today out there in YouTube land. Some of you who have seen some of the other videos on my channel may remember that I did a cigar smoking video for the Smoking Monk of Estelli American Pale Ale beer paired cigar. And we had some fun with that with a Nickelbrook Naughty Neighbor APA. I also have some of the Smoking Monk of Estelli by Drew Estate craft beer paired cigars paired with a Heffweisen, and I wanted to try it out, and I wanted to try a local Heffweisen, so I queried a group on Facebook to ask for suggestions of which ones to go with, and these are the five I could get my hands on. So I'm going to give these five today and give them a nice honest tasting, see how I like them, and the winner is going to go on to be paired with the cigar, which I should be smoking sometime next week. So let's introduce these five. For starters, we've got a Great Lakes Brewery Morgan Muffin Heffweisen. This one is a 5% alcohol. The Rhythm and Brews Heavy Metal Heffweisen, another 5.0 ABV. The Side Launch Brewing Company Wheat. Now, this one is a 5.3% alcohol and doesn't actually say on it that it's a Heffweisen, but having had it before, I know that its flavor profile is very Heffweisen-esque, so I wanted to include this one. Foundry Brewing Company Beautiful Aurelia Heffweisen, another 5.3. And lastly, from Muddy York Brewing Company, we have the Haberdasher Heffweisen. The Haberdasher Heffweisen is a 5.2% alcohol. Now, what is a Heffweisen? I'm not going to do the high school essay thing and pull out a Wikipedia definition of a Heffweisen, but essentially it's an unfiltered wheat beer that has a lot of traditionally banana flavor profile to it. So this is going to be kind of like your banana peels with wheat. It's like a banana sandwich, I guess. That's the kind of flavor profile you're looking at. As with some of my other videos, I want to assure that I'm not just sitting here and binge drinking 5 pints while I'm doing this tasting. I'm going to do a sampling. I do have a spit bucket off camera, and whatever beer I really like, I'm probably going to finish. I've got several of each of these so that I've got 2 after I taste one left over so that I can pair those with a cigar. 1 beer for the first half of the cigar and the second beer for the second half. Let's start with the Side Launch Brewing Company Wheat. I'm going to give you a brief description of this one. Side Launch Brewing Company, proudly brewed and canned in Collingwood, Ontario. Classic aroma, sweet grains, effervescent. Not a lot of talk on the can. Lovely yellow color there. Lovely small bubbling effervescence. It isn't too foamy. It's nice. Smells dry, smells tinned, smells like a canned beer. Slight wheat notes. It's a very good dry wheat beer. It doesn't taste too sweet. It's got a bit of a bitter finish. I have to say this is, don't want to compare them to the ones I haven't tried yet, but this is one that I could sit and drink all night. But it's not blowing me away. This is a good, solid wheat beer. If you're into wheat beers, then this is a really nice flavor to go with. It's not anything that I would call surprising, mind-blowing. Not that every beer has to be. This is a good, solid entry in this category of beer that really showcases what the beer should be. Not what it could be, I suspect, But this is a good entry, a good solid, if you want a Hefeweizen, if you want a wheat beer, this is a good wheat beer. Next, we've got the Great Lakes Brewing Muffin Heffweisen 5.0. They say that there are German words that aren't translatable into English. What a bunch of poppycock. See, there's one. They just combine two or more words to convey a meaning. We do that too, know-it-alls. See, there's another. Anyway, sorry for the rant. It's too early in the morning. I'm not sure what that has to do with the beer. If I figure out what it is, I'll put the definition of Muffin right about here on the screen for you. Serving temp 4 to 7 degrees, glassware, and a GLB Crown Viking. And, you know, I like that they're taking ownership of the beer, but it's a little bit over the top to say best when served in the glassware that we sell. Let's give this one a try. Immediately you can see this is a much more complex foam. This looks a little bit darker than the last one, but on my monitor it's showing up. It looks just about as bright. It's a little more cloudy, a little darker. This is not a thicker viscosity, but it's got a thicker flavor. It feels thicker, it feels fuller. Still is a little bit of a tang that you can taste that it came out of a can. It's sweeter and more bitter. It's a much more robust flavor than the side launch. Already after just 2, maybe 3 ounce samples in these glasses, I'm already feeling my stomach filling up a little bit. That's one of the dangers of Hefeweizens. They are a thick beer. They're a heavy beer. This one has a little bit more of that banana note to it and a little bit of maltiness that I didn't catch in the other one. For those of you unfamiliar with malt, the purest example that I can think of is chew a Malteaser candy, if that's available where you are. Once you get through the chocolate, this tastes like malt. Malt is such a strong flavor in that candy, and you'll have an idea what this would taste like. In fact, with the banana and the wheat, a little bit of chocolate and malt, a side of Malteaser with this would be fantastic. Definitely seems more effervescent. The carbonation is there, the tingle is more pronounced. I like this one. This one has more flavor than the side launch, and I suspect not as much flavor as we're going to get from some of the other ones in this tasting, but definitely very good. Next up, we have the Hefeweizen from Rhythm and Brews. Rhythm and Brews Brewing Company in Cambridge, Ontario. 5.0% alcohol, and nothing but fingerprints in the back of the can. So again, not a chatty beer, not a brewing company that feels the need to talk about the beer. They put it in a can and let it speak for itself. So let's let it speak. I will note that the glassware here is from the Burlington Beer Festival, which is a craft beer festival that takes place every winter in at the Holiday Inn uptown a little bit here. And the branding on the other side of the glass is for beer store, which is a bit of a simplification. The beer store, as we have here in Ontario, which used to be called Brewers Retail, is a retail beer distributor and storefront that is owned by the brewing companies in Ontario. And if you want to talk about beer politics in this province, we can talk about that in a later video. Suffice to say, there are things that go on within the brewer's retail, within the beer store, that are not ideal, particularly for smaller brewers, and that is not what it was created to be. So let's put a pin in that, and I'll come back to beer politics in the future. But just so you're aware, when it says beer store on the back of the glass here, this is not an endorsement, this is not an advertisement. But back to the beer at hand, the Hefeweizen. It smells sour. Not like a sour, it smells off. It smells very tinny. Like a nose full of freshly shredded aluminum. That smell kind of combines with the taste right off the top. It's kind of smell like wet dog. It's not a good smell. The flavor, once you get past that initial scent combo, is much better. I may have done this accidentally, but the first 3 beers I've picked kind of scale up in flavor commensurate to each other. This one has more flavor, fuller flavor than the GLB. That smell. It's metallic and like wet hay. It kind of reminds me of, there was an exhibit at the Canadian War Museum in Ottawa a number of years ago on the First World War, during one of the centennial years of the First World War, and they had recreated the scent of some of the gas. Now I can't remember if it was Phosgene or mustard gas, but it was described by soldiers as smelling like wet hay, and they had recreated the scent. You could open a little porthole and sniff it. This kind of gives me that smell. It's a little more metallic, but that's kind of the smell. And it must be the canning. When I picked this up in store, I tried it at the brewery. I had a sample, and this smell was not there. So if you can get it on tap, if you can get it in a growler, or if you can get it in a bottle, if they start bottling it, that problem will likely go away. But for right now, the smell is really turning me off. And the flavor dissipates a little quickly compared to the GLB. GLB hung on a little bit longer. This is very wheaty, but I don't taste any of that banana that is characteristic of the style. Yeah, just falling a little short for me. Moving on, we have the Foundry Brewing Beautiful Aurelia Heffweisen. 5.3% alcohol. Banana, clove, and fruit. This is a 2020 Ontario Brewing Awards Gold Medal winner. Made in Cambridge. Also a 2020 Canadian Brewing Awards Gold Medal. Okay, so we got 2020 Ontario Gold Medal Brewing Award and 2020 Canada Gold Medal Brewing Award. So this is already right off its can. It's telling me I should expect great things. They also say right on the back, they show the same 2 brewing awards, so they're really touting that on this particular beer. It says it's a medium hoppiness to maltiness, and it's quite high on the light versus dark scale. Oh, from here, pouring it, I can already smell banana and nut. Smells like a banana walnut loaf. Again, nice light color. And nice small carbonation, small bubbles there. It smells very faintly of banana and nut. I'm not getting any canned smell off this one. That is nice. Wheaty with banana. Very wheaty finish. The wheaty finish takes over and you lose the banana at the end. And nutty. It tastes like a little bit of like walnut in there. And it says on the can, banana, fruit, and clove. I'm not sure if I can taste that clove in there. The clove that's in here is being used effectively. It's just flying under the radar and accentuating some of the sweetness, perhaps. Because I can't detect it directly. And sometimes, like putting a little bit of saline in a cocktail or adding a little bit of citrus to a sauce, it's not the flavor that it brings that is the reason you put it in there, but it's just enough of juxtaposition with an opposite to enhance its counterpart. So a little bit of saline in a cocktail can bring out the smokiness if you have a mezcal or a tequila in there, or it can bring out the funkiness of a rum. A little bit of citrus in a tomato sauce can bring out more of the sweet flavors in the tomato because it's counterpointed by the tartness of the citrus and lemon juice. There are reasons why you would add an ingredient that doesn't necessarily add much of a flavor. If this was their intent with the clove, I think that they've done very well because it's a very tasty beer. It's smooth. This one, hearkening back to what I said about the side launch, this is a beer I could drink all night. This is a beer I could have several pints in a row. The GLB, great flavor. I think I'd be pretty full after a couple of those. The side launch, though, and this one, very drinkable, very smooth, and that banana is nice. It doesn't taste like an artificial banana because, and this is another side rant, the banana that we know in our lives today is not the banana from the 1930s. There was a banana blight or banana crisis that led to bananas being replaced with a different type of banana that grew better. That's why banana candy doesn't taste like banana, because it doesn't taste like the bananas that we have now. And it tastes like the banana flavor of yesteryear. So we can talk about literally the banana republics. We can talk about the politics of the history of agriculture of bananas and how that affects cocktails. And we can make up a banana cocktail while we're at it. I have a good one that I formulated the other day that I think you might like. So we'll do a cocktail corner on bananas. That'll be fun. But this one tastes like banana, subtle banana, doesn't taste like a cartoony banana. It's quite good. I think what I'm missing when it comes to the clove is that I expect clove to come along with other spices like cinnamon. Because clove is as an important component to baking spice is usually not found by itself. So maybe what I'm tasting in some of that bitter wheatiness at the finish is more of that clove coming out, and I'm just not used to tasting it on its own. Still quite good. Top marks for the Foundry Heffweisen. Let's move on to our last one. Lastly, we have the Muddy York Brewing Company Haberdasher Heffweisen. Let's see what they have to say. It's a 5.2% alcohol, brewed in Toronto, 15 IBU. Our Haberdasher Heffweisen peddles in all the hallmarks of a traditional German Weissbier: banana, a touch of clove, cloudy appearance, and a soft finish. It will dress up even the dullest of days, transporting you and your mates to the summers of yore. Top hats and fascinators optional. Taste the past. Muddy York Brewing Company, established 2013. Muddy York, for those of you who are not familiar, was the name that was given to the city of York, now the city of Toronto, back in the day, because it was quite muddy. And in fact, one of the oldest jokes known about the city of Toronto has to do with the mud. Maybe we'll do a comedy episode and I'll tell that joke. I should also note that of the 5 Heffweisens that I've poured here, I've sampled here, all of them confine themselves to the Reinheitsgebot, the Bavarian purity laws concerning beer. So they're all only made with, as the can proudly says, water, malted barley, malted wheat, hops, and yeast. And there's nothing else in there. So they've managed to make this flavor profile with a number of different variations, with varying those ingredients and sourcing those different types of those ingredients. Let's dig into some Muddy York. This one seems darker than the others, and it's again a nice fine foam. It does have a nose, again, of banana and nut. Not quite so forcefully as the Founders did. I could smell that when I was pouring it. I could smell the banana off that. Very subtle flavor. Let's give it a taste. Oh, wow. This is banana, banana, banana. It's sweeter than the other ones. That banana flavor rides all the way to the end. It's there. Some of the other ones, the wheat started to overpower the banana towards the finish, but this is, it's right there. It's banana, banana, banana. It isn't an offensively overpowering banana. You would expect banana, banana, banana to just be sweet, but this is crisp. It's banana with a crisp, dry, almost bitter finish. It doesn't get bitter, but it gets bitter in the way where bitter almost becomes tart. In the same way where you're drinking a club soda and it tastes almost kind of tart and almost kind of bitter, but it's still just water. It's kind of in that same place where it's like that. I'm gonna do a quick recap of the 5 beers that we've had so far. The side launch was very drinkable. It was very tasty. Didn't really show off much of what the flavor can do, but I could drink that for an evening. I could have a number of those. It was a very good wheat beer. The Great Lakes Brewery had more flavor than the side launch. Also felt like it would fill me up a little bit more, like I couldn't drink it for the whole night, but still very good marks for that. The Hefeweizen, I'm just turned off by the smell in the can. I would love to go back to the brewery and have a full tasting of all their offerings and give their Heffweisen a fair shake, have a whole pint on draft, and give you an update, give you a better review of it. But right now, based on what I've tasted out of the can, can't give it good marks. I'm sorry. So we're left with the last two. We're left with the Foundry Heffweisen and the Muddy York Heffweisen, and we're gonna have to do a side-by-side and duke it out, see which one I like the best, because these are both very good, and I need another taste to figure it out. So let's dive in, starting like we did first last time with the Foundry. Very good banana, very natural banana flavor. Crispness on the finish. I think I can taste more of that clove now in that. Banana dissipates and then becomes more bready. It gets overtaken by the breadiness. And also, while I've got the two of them here, you can see the difference in the color there. This one's much lighter from Foundry. This one much peachier looking from Muddy York. Let's dig in the Muddy York. This time it's almost, when I go right from the one to the other, it's almost a bit of a chalky, dry, dark chocolate cocoa flavor when it hits the tongue. And again, that banana is just so good. It's sweet and funky, the kind of banana funk you expect from a single pot still Jamaican rum. And that banana carries all the way through, doesn't get cut off by the wheat. Back to the Foundry. Yeah, in direct comparison, I can see why this beer is more critically acclaimed. It's a much more balanced flavor. It showcases a very well thought out beer. And if you wanted to try a Hefeweizen, this would be a very good one to determine what a Hefeweizen is like. But it doesn't compare to the bombastic banana flavor you get from the Muddy York Heffweisen. The Haberdasher Heffweisen here, I have to say, is my favorite. I can certainly see why Foundry has won the awards they have, and I can see why they're proud of what they made. They really should be. It's a very good beer. But for my personal taste, I really like what Muddy York is doing with the Haberdasher Heffweisen. I really think that this one does a great job. So that's it for the Battle of the Heffweisens. We have a winner here. I really like the Muddy York Haberdasher Heffweisen. That being said, I'm probably going to earmark Muddy York Brewing for another one of my brewery visits, so we can go and check out some of the other things that they do. And we can get into some more of the stuff that Muddy York does. We can also maybe get into some of the history of Toronto as portrayed through Muddy York Brewing. I want to thank all of you out there on YouTube land for coming on this beer journey with me, and we'll certainly do this again with a different beer, a different brewery, a different project. We'll have some fun. I want to wish you all a fine evening, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, or if you have another brewery or another Heffweisen that you think I should give a try to, that I can get up here, I'll see what I can do. Leave a comment below, and I will like it when I have had a chance to see it. Until next time, I am Cigar and Bar. This has been Bar Corner, and I will see you next time with another pint of beer. Cheers.